Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight for the 18th annual Film by Bike Film Festival. The Adventure Night program, always a favorite here at Film by Bike. If we were where we usually are at the beautiful, historic Hollywood Theater here in Portland, Oregon, it would be a packed house. Right now, it's a pretty packed house here on YouTube, and we're so excited for that. If you like the music we've been playing, we want to let you know that we collaborate every year with Radio Room and Keys Lounge, two of our amazing culture partners here in Portland. And every year we put together a playlist to get you in the mood for the festival weekend. We've got people that tell us that they pump these tunes all the time throughout the year whenever they have friends coming over. People have told us that whenever I have friends coming over, that's my go-to playlist. So we hope you've been enjoying the music that we've got running for Film by Bike this year. We especially created the playlist this year to represent some sounds of the time. So some important songs of the times, also just songs that have been really motivating us, and lots of Latinx music that's really had us inspired. We started this playlist back in January when we started the festival season. And then as we moved into all the changes that have happened with quarantine and the racial justice reckoning, we've added some music into the mix with that as well. I also want to give a big shout out to KEXP out of Seattle for providing a lot of inspiration for the music that you're hearing throughout the festival weekend. And again, a big thanks to Radio Room and Keys Lounge for contributing to our festival playlist this year. You can find a link to our festival playlist at filmbybike.org. Tune in, it's on Spotify. And people are chiming in the chat letting us know that they listened to the playlist recently and think it's so good. So that's so awesome to hear. We love being able to add in a little bit of music to the festival weekend. And that's going to be available. That Spotify mix will stay up forever. So you guys are always welcome to tune into that. Now we've got a great mix planned for you tonight of special movies that are all about tales of adventure on the remote and the rugged road. We want to give a big shout out to our filmmakers who are joining us tonight. If you are a filmmaker and you have a film in tonight's festival, let us know in the chat window. The chat window is running live and cray because it's Saturday night. So great to see all of you chiming in on the chat window. And I want to let you guys know that we decided to add in a special feature tomorrow night. So earlier today, Courtney Williams, who's known as the Brown Bike Girl, who does diversity, equity, and inclusion training, as well as being the People's Bike Mayor of New York City. She is a Film by Bike juror this year, and she's helping us co-produce our new High Viz film festival highlighting and celebrating the bicycle stories of Black, Indigenous, and all people of color. Today, Courtney led a workshop. This was her idea. We decided to run with it and it went so well. She hosted an Instagram Live workshop on Filmmaking 101. It was so great. Tons of people tuned in. The information conveyed was awesome and relevant. And that inspired us to add in a new feature. So tomorrow we're going to be hosting the Festival Fiesta at 3 p.m. tomorrow on Instagram. Tune in to Film by Bike on Instagram tomorrow at 3 p.m. We're going to be going live. We're going to be recapping the weekend of activities and events. We've had 2 weeks of awesome conversations leading up to this film weekend. And we're going to be giving you the opportunity to come live with us on Instagram and tell us what you love about bikes, what you've loved about the festival, and kind of live in this moment with us. Because if you know anything about Film by Bike, you know that we are all about the in-person experience. We are 18 years old now, and in our early days, it was all about being out in the streets and celebrating, hosting our street party, having live music and DJs and street performers and stilt walkers and hula hoopers and all of that came with our early days of the festival. And now that we're here online, we're so excited to be sharing with our global audience a little glimpse into the Portland bike culture and what we do here at Filmed by Bike. So we invite you all to join us tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific time, West Coast time. Join us on Instagram for the festival fiesta. And we really hope you will go onto Instagram and request to go live with us, and we will invite you into the conversation and hear what your festival weekend has been like. Now, tonight's movies are all about tales of adventure on the remote and rugged road. And we had it's the final film you're going to see tonight is great. We love it. We're super stoked to be sharing it with you. And we had a great conversation with the filmmaker earlier in our pre-festival event series. So if you look into our playlists here on YouTube, you'll see a playlist for the 18th annual Filmed by Bike. This was our pre-festival season of great conversations. And we scheduled an interview with Rue Caladite to talk about her film, I Just Want to Ride. This film profiles the story of endurance cyclist Lael Wilcox riding Tour Divide. Well, we didn't even think about the fact that Rue and Lael are a couple, and that, it's quarantine and all, and chances are really good that Lael's going to be in the same room as Rue. So we sit down to do this interview with Rue, and we're so stoked. Like, we love Rue's work. We love Lael. She's so inspiring. We're really excited to sit down and do this interview. And then all of a sudden, as we're like, before we go live, someone hands Rue a glass of water. And I'm like, is that Lael? Is she there right now? So long story short, Lael Wilcox joined us for this awesome interview with Rue, talking about a really crazy story of discrimination and hardship that Lael faced riding Tour Divide, as well as Rue as the filmmaker. It's a great story, and we're going to be ending tonight's program with it. So I won't say anything more to spoil it. But if you'd also like the behind the scenes on that and to hear more from these two, we had a really good time interviewing them. So look in our 18th annual Film by Bike playlist here on YouTube, and you'll get a glimpse into that interview. I think it's really awesome. I also want to let you all know before we get into the films tonight that we have a great grant program that we have recently launched. This is our opportunity to support Black, Indigenous, and all people of color to tell their bicycle stories. Funding is a huge barrier to all filmmakers, and filmmakers of color face additional barriers to securing funding. So we're doing our small part by offering this new grant program that will be funding 2 filmmakers at least this year. And it's an ongoing grant program. So we're dedicated to this year, and we will do more after that. And we're asking for your donations to help support these films. If you love what we do here at Film by Bike, and if you enjoy watching these films, we encourage you to go to filmedbybike.org and click the link to support our filmmaker grant program. And let's see how many films we can fund this year with your support. Now again, tonight's program is our most popular, and we're so excited to be moving into this program tonight. I know you guys are going to love what we have to share, but before we get to that, I wanted to invite onto the stage an important guest, because tonight's program is supported by Northwest Trail Alliance. And I've got Kelsey De Felipes joining me. She is one of the staffers at Northwest Trail Alliance. They are our local trail advocacy organization. And Kelsey, thanks so much for joining me tonight. It's great to have you here on the program to talk more about what NWTA does.
Hi guys, it's here.
So Kelsey, I know you're relatively new to Northwest Trail Alliance. Northwest Trail Alliance has been around for quite a while. Tell us a little bit about your history in the outdoors, the type of sports you've been involved in, outdoor activities in general.
So I grew up on the coast. So I've been involved in surfing and a little bit of biking. There's a bit of biking down in Newport, Oregon. But other than that, I didn't really get into mountain biking until Northwest Trail Alliance. June 2, the vice president actually loaned me her bike, so I've been using that quite a bit.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and I would imagine as someone like you have a strong surf background and just being an active outdoors person, I feel like when you do those types of activities that require balance and, just coordination in general, you probably took to mountain biking pretty easily, I would imagine. How was that for you?
Yeah, it's really, I think there's so many different like ways to mountain bike. There's cross country and then downhill and enduro. And I really like the aspect of just being on the trail all day. And so I picked it up kind of fast just for the love of being outside.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what Northwest Trail Alliance does.
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit organization located in Portland, Oregon. We serve over 60-mile radius extending from the coast to southern Washington and then the western foothills of Mount Hood. We promote sustainable trail practices and access for all riders. Our vision is for a culture of land management and community engagement, just for central mountain biking, pretty much.
And why is this work that NWTA does so important?
So we are important because we promote community engagement. It involves people outdoors and teaches various ages. Second, to ride, you need to have trails. And so what my boss or the president, Bob Lassard, told me was if you're a sailor, all you can hope for is wind. If you're a mountain biker, you can support a trail association to get trails. So really, if like it doesn't start with buying a mountain bike, it goes way beyond that. And it doesn't matter what stage of mountain biking you're in or in your career. What really matters is how much you engage in the trails and the community and the culture of it. So it's just a really important community aspect, really.
I've always thought that was so cool about mountain biking as opposed to many other sports is that mountain bikers give back. Like mountain bike trail advocacy organizations, trail work parties, they exist all throughout the states. Like you can't ride trail if you don't have trail. You can't ride the trails that exist if they aren't in good condition. This is so vastly different than many other sports where you go play basketball, you're not maintaining that basketball court. I'm not talking crud on basketball. I love basketball. But I think that is such a unique feature of mountain biking, this give back nature. And in fact, more than almost any other discipline of cycling in general. I've always loved that about the mountain bike sphere, just that give back nature of it. So tell me a little bit about what NWTA is up to these days and any new developments and new projects you guys are working on.
Totally. So we have grown a lot, specifically in the last couple of months. The biking industry has really took off, and so with that, we got a lot of riders on the trails. So the summer, we didn't dig at all because it was dry. So coming up, we're going to start digging. But that just entails just teaching people sustainable practices for putting down trail and mapping it out pretty much. Other than that, we are pretty excited about our relationship with parks here in Portland. So we are working on Gateway Green, which is just a community bike space by the 205 path. And that will open in November. The first dig day that we're going to have for the season will be out there, and that's going to be next week. We kind of had to like formulate different regulations for COVID, but that's a big step to try to normalize all of this going on. Other than that, we've had trail maintenance and building opportunities in like places where our partners have allowed. And so one of that is Rocky Point and Clutchie Creek, which is really exciting to be in kind of a working forest and notice all the changes that go on in there.
Yeah, this is all so exciting. I know we've got Tori chiming in on the chat window, and she's been involved in a lot of the great efforts you've done, as well as Oregon Timber Trails efforts. So, Tori, it's great to see you there in the chat. Rocky Point is so exciting because I know there's been people wanting to ride there for many years, and now it's appropriately sanctioned, and it's relatively close to the city. And as Kelsey mentioned, there's this new partnership between Northwest Trail Alliance and Portland Parks and Rec. So for those of you who are tuning in from elsewhere, think about the concept of your local trails advocacy organization having a partnership with your Parks and Rec organization and helping influence how trails, soft surface trails are built, whether that's, mountain biking trails or similar. Like, what a cool concept. So I'm so proud of Northwest Trail Alliance for brokering this deal, if you will. I know it's a long time in the making, and I expect great things to come from it because there are awesome folks at the table. I happen to personally know a bunch of people who work for Portland Parks and Rec, and I know they are also very excited for these changes that are happening, or, just the potential for the future. So that's really great to see. And so I'm curious to hear from you, Kelsey, for those folks who are tuning in. Obviously, we are a global event this year. And for those folks who are tuning in from all over the world, as they settle in to watch these beautiful stories of adventure on the remote and rugged road, what are some things that you would hope they would be thinking about in terms of trail access and trail advocacy work?
Just the access just outside your door. Just notice how close or how far it is, and the community that you can build with a trail organization, and just really dive into the culture and learn new things. You really don't have to be a seasoned mountain biker. I obviously just started, and so I feel like that's really important. If you're putting tires on dirt, then should probably pick up a shovel or learn something new about the area.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And so before we head into the movies, what are some, I know you're relatively new to mountain biking, but you're an adept outdoors person in general. What are some of your favorite trails to ride?
Right now, I really like Rocky Point just because it's so close. My car doesn't have AC, so getting out there is pretty nice. Other than that, I just went up to Falls Creek Falls with June 2. She showed me around up there. So really just the places that are closer to me. And I think my new favorite place will be Gateway Green, just to learn skills.
Yeah, Gateway. So, folks who are tuning in, Gateway Green is an awesome skills training area. It was a swath of land between two freeways that was absolutely unused. The access to get there isn't the easiest, but it's totally worth it because you get this huge swath of land that's been developed in multiple phases. First phase was great as it was, and there's more to come, but it's great for kids. It's great for adults. You can practice pump track work, a little bit of single track gravel riding, and everything in between. And I've gone out there myself. I'm not a huge mountain biker, though one day maybe. I'm more of a gravel rider, so I'm getting there. And I've gone out there with kids, and the kids absolutely love it. So Gateway Green is really exciting, and to know that here, right in Portland, we've got that access. And it's Northwest Trail Alliance as well as other organizations that have really partnered to make that happen. So I appreciate all the great work you guys have done, Kelsey, over there at Northwest Trail Alliance. I also appreciate you joining me to kick off the program tonight. I can't imagine a better way to jump into these incredible films about adventure on the remote and rugged road. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. And without further ado, folks, we're going to jump into segment 1. We've also got a brief intermission in the middle and then a segment 2. So without further ado, let's watch some bike movies.
Off-road cycling is good. Good for our communities, accentuating health and instilling a connection with nature, accelerating society's environmental progress. It's good for our youth, drawing our children outside and away from negative influences to enjoy freedom, away from threatening traffic. In our youth, off-road cycling promotes a fit body and a growing mind. It instills confidence that readily transfers to other pursuits, and it satisfies their need for adventure. Off-road cycling is a family sport, with youth participation drawing in parents and parents nurturing their children's growth. Off-road cyclists are your friends, neighbors, and business associates. We are of all colors and ages, coming from all walks of life. We are environmentalists, technologists, social workers, and civil engineers. We are your children, your sisters and brothers, your husband, your wife. We are you. And we're headed outdoors because we share your joy of being immersed in nature. We may travel a different trail, but our destination is the same, experiencing our full potential within the cathedral that is Earth. Like you, we respect the Earth, shape it, nurture it. Our trails become homes away from home, and we renew them year after year. Each becomes a Mecca, eliciting joy and rejuvenation. At the Northwest Trail Alliance, we're advocates for trail access. Our all-volunteer, nonprofit organization responsibly builds and maintains many of the finest mountain biking trails in the Pacific Northwest. Portland's off-road cycling master plan is about serving the metro area's health and recreation needs as fully and fairly as possible. Join us in bringing about a change of heart in Portland, the conviction to say yes to so much good.
This is day one, 2 miles in. It's an amazing day. Come on. Just keep pedaling. Just keep pedaling. Just keep pedaling. Just keep pedaling.
There's no surprise, maybe there's no surprise. Is there something we could do tonight, maybe to pass the time? Is it worth just trying? It's in your eyes, it's in your eyes, maybe it's in your I see the skies, I see the skies, maybe I see those skies. Maybe what we do tonight leaves us no surprises. Maybe if that's alright.
This is the climb out of Fish Lake area, and we're almost to the top. I think everybody else has been up there for a while. This has been a special climb for me. It's freaking hard, and I was thinking back to last year, and I don't know if it was the first day or the second day or multiple days when I was in tears of just frustration and And today I'm tired, but it's a different story, and I've cried probably 3 times on this hill, but mostly because, well, all because I'm going to be leaving this organ in a couple months, and I'm sad. It's beautiful, so get out there and enjoy it. It's a really special place. What do you think about the climb out of Brighton Bush?
Dick kicker.
Thank you, Kim, for the warning.
I have a dick that's been kicked.
Like 5 times.
With every step, every rock in this fucking uphill rock garden trail.
How do you really feel?
I want to go back to Brighton Bush.
Signing out.
We do have. No, just kidding.
Hey Jan, what are you doing?
I'm making a cock and balls.
Cock and balls?
Yeah.
What's that bear grass for?
The climax.
Topping? All right.
Like how it shoots out.
So, we are currently climbing up to Botany Meadows on a road climb. It's like day 12. It's like 16 since we left home. And last night we did not make it to the Botany Meadows campground because we ended up at a river ford that we couldn't cross. So we backtracked about 17 miles. Extra 1,000 feet of climbing, and we had to quit early. So this morning we rolled out at 7 a.m. to try to make up time and get to Botany Meadows early because we got a 40-mile day with 5,000 feet of climbing, so it should be fun.
Last year when I did this, I didn't really have like that day where I just felt flat and couldn't do it, and I think I'm really feeling it today.
Trophy point. We're still smiling. We're still smiling. Barely.
There's the mountain in all its glory. What do you think of today?
It's been really hard, but not as hard as we've climbed about 5,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have more miles to go, but it's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's been a couple of hours and I'm feeling a little bit better. The views help. Well, it's just going downhill again. This is really hard. We're on surveyors and it should be right there. Should be really fun for me. And it sucks. It sucks a lot, but at least the view's great. I'm really tired and I'm shutting down and I'm not talking at all. But everybody's being really good. I've just not had a day like this in a very long time.
When did you ever see the sun go fading out? And when did you ever see me lie? When did you ever see the sun fading out across the lightning in the sky? When did you ever see the sun go fading out? And nothing could ever come between. fading out, and know that this all will fade away. When did you notice I was beautiful and completely unafraid? When did you ever see the sun go fading out and nothing could ever come between? No lovely things that we think we are and all the things we think we could be.
I am just a girl who travels alone by bike. I'm told I'm crazy, or bold, or brave. Maybe I'm some of those, maybe I'm none of those. But at 1,300 miles, beauty and kindness have prevailed. It isn't always easy. Now I have to find a place to stay tonight. But with slow exploration come moments of clarity about the generosity of strangers and the necessity of fuel. But my favorite part about bike travel? Exposure to the unexpected, where I learn a thing or two about trust. Trust in myself, trust in others, and trust in endless possibilities in the unknown.
My first experiences here have always been extraordinary. Coming out here and just experiencing it gave us some big ideas. It's deep, canopied forest. It's wild, loose trails. It's rugged. It's unique. This is Northwest. And all these trails lead to the top. How do we get people here to look at it?
The idea of Trans-Cascadia came about, we were always talking about like we should do an event, and one year it was kind of just like, well, we're gonna do an event, and then we're like, well, you know this is a lot of work, right?
Yeah, the void we kind of saw out there with that wasn't happening in the U.S. was kind of that trans-style multi-day backcountry event, and especially blind racing. And then just kind of doing that full catered experience, keeping everyone together for the whole event and really building that camaraderie. And we really focused on the experience that first year with big bonfires, excessive amounts of booze, epic trails, packing everyone into shuttle buses tight. And that was kind of that goal that we were looking for, was really to bring people together and share high-level experiences.
You don't tap yours out. A little bit.
Take 3 professional guys that work together, throw them into the woods, and everyone wants to put in a good experience. Nick is unbelievable because he's trying to find just these most remote trails and do it.
Nick worked his ass off and continues to make the details and drives this thing.
That's Nick, like the mayor of Paintown, of Blistertown, USA. Alex is a super hard worker, so he's in there also scouting on moto and finding all these crazy trails. And then there's me, which I unfortunately am the Debbie Downer. But I'm like, hey guys, like I love the idea and that's a beautiful mountain, but I don't think we can climb 15,000 feet tomorrow. And I think the 3 of us together are able to come out with a perfect outcome, because we got, you know, someone just that's crazy optimistic and wants to just capture everything, and you've got the guy in the middle who's Alex, who's definitely balancing both sides of it, and then me who's like, or we could have a swim day. Maybe we wake up at 9 that morning. No one needs really to get up at 5, right?
The process of finding the right trails and putting together the right days and connecting them the right way is super fun. That's probably the most stressful part about this. We're constantly just talking with our community and trying to find where the cool riding spots are.
We start by kind of looking at maps and looking at, like, where's there look like there's some steep topo lines.
And then when you can actually get on the ground and apply that, so ride or moto, it's a lot of map research and it's a lot of communication with the community, and it's a lot of just experimenting on trails, and a lot of it doesn't work out.
We went out to vet the course and spent the day on what looked on paper to be pretty simple, but that's rarely the case out here. We were just out there to have a look around, and we saw some amazing descents and some big rugged areas, huge ruts. We were on motorcycles and it was a lot of work. First and foremost, we're out here to clear the trails, to log the trails, to make them passable by bike. So to get that done, we need a lot of volunteers.
Henry's been rad because he's a go-getter. He might be the loudest, drunkest guy at the fire the night before, but you put a tool in his hand and he's gonna do work, and he's gonna work until you tell him to stop.
In the morning we meet and they say, hey, here's your group, this is where you're going, this is your task, and we get it done. They don't cherry pick and look for easy places that are already established. They go in, they pick a place, they revive it, and they don't just leave it.
It's just a lot of triage. We're cutting trees and we're brushing brush back and we're raking trails.
They're hard days. There's a lot of flies up on some of the tracks, the heat.
And there's miles of it to do, and so we're kind of at the point where we're just trying to get the trails open. And once you get out there and you know how long it took you to get into your work spot, you end up just pulling that trigger for a little bit longer than you want to. That's the culture that we've got here.
You know, where I'm at in my point in life with riding and trail work, I want to really get back to what's supported me almost my whole life. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, for sure.
We've been lucky enough to welcome back many racers. It's nice seeing faces and helping people get along their way and hop into our circus. People coming to Trans-Cascadia, pro racers to amateurs to first-time bike racers.
I'm Alex McGinnis. People call me Crunk Shocks. I'm from Colorado, and I've raced the Trans-Cascadia for 3 years now. It's not hard to convince anyone to come and do this. It's a pretty special experience. The quality of riding is second to none in this region. This is Pacific Northwest trail bike racing. So I keep coming back because it's sweet. It takes a lot of work to get to locations like this, but you don't get it anywhere else. This is a curated experience, and so these trails are selected and the routes are well thought out. Racers are so far removed from the logistics, so I'm always amazed how this stuff manages to get pulled off.
There's some scary times, not scary, but some stressful, like you have weather rolling in, you got racers on mountains, you've got a race delay for whatever reason, and you know that we're racing late September, so we're chasing daylight. You gotta get people fed by a certain time, so you're gonna get them back up at 6 a.m.
Just getting the kitchen fully set up. Top Chef is a joke compared to what we're doing right now.
You're thinking about corners and markings, you're thinking about food safety, you're thinking about camping safety, bus safety, driving. Like it's a nonstop kind of stress thing, but that's also what really blows up that reward at the end. We're in a zone here where I can guarantee no one who shows up to race has ever ridden some of these trails. So that's that true blind backcountry racing.
And they create a 4-day race around blind racing. It's something you look forward to.
For me, it's the whole package. Just everyone out here, the blind racing is really cool because you're riding the trails faster than you would normally. Slapping left and right. It's been one of the most fun weeks I've ever had.
So you ride as fast as you can. You rely on whatever skill set you have, whether it's reading the trail really well, it's slapping corners, sprinting, a combo of all those things. And blind racing brings you down to your skill set, fundamentals of what you can do on a mountain bike. Riding with your friends while racing, such a wild experience. For 10 minutes, you're chasing your buddy down and watching him get wild, letting it buck, making some really good decisions, making some really bad decisions.
The trail's just been amazing this year, like just absolute float, grips being ridiculous. Yeah, it's a trip, honestly, it's so fun.
I think a lot of people will leave feeling pretty good even though they didn't get gold because of the experience of riding with your friends and hanging out in the middle of nowhere on some sweet trails no one's touched.
Bringing people to Cascadia is just, it was a mind blower for me when I first got here and saw it and discovered it, and it's irresistible. You can't get it out of your mind. And so when you can see that in somebody else's eyes or share that, it's gratifying.
Hard work is fulfilling. You get done with a hard day of work and you know what got done here and you know what you're doing to open it up for the racers and the community. And what makes this event successful is just seeing the community's reaction to it. And, you know, we all are looking to bounce things off of people in this life, right? And get some affirmation that what you're doing is a good thing and that people like what you're up to.
Really what we're trying to do is just give back to the sport that feeds us and create something interesting in the meantime, and it's gone beyond anything I ever imagined.
It's late, the world's asleep, I'm wide awake. Never, ever, ever, I will never, ever, ever, ever be the same. Feel the same. Be the same. Feel the same.
Now what?
Going for a ride.
Oh, son of a...
It's been 3 years since we made Beulah, which was also a trip up to Scotland, masterminded by Stefan, who did the route. He's a tour guide, so he's very experienced. Can't say that without laughing, but he is a genuinely very experienced. Some might call him a celebrity, actually.
Will basically said to me, I really need you to be in a film again. Your head on the...
We, being Brother Cycles, are collaborating with Pan-Air.
So yeah, we've joined forces again, nothing's changed. We're wanting to launch a bikepacking trip in Scotland. Will's launching his bike.
It's called the Métis. We often seem to choose names that people can't really pronounce or don't really understand. It means a yeti. It's a mountain-dwelling man-beast. We're going to get a train up to London, all meet at the shop, do a final kit check, and then we're getting a sleeper train up to Scotland. And to be 100% honest, I don't really know exactly what we're doing at that point.
It's really intimidating out there. It's beautiful from the train, it really is.
It is the UK's highest, remotest train station.
Now you tell us. Although you're expecting it to be cold, because it's Scotland, it's November, I think there was a moment of realisation that it was really cold. My fingers were numb before we'd even started riding. We've basically got the original crew that were on Beulah, Luke, filmmaker, and Jordan.
You're actually amazing.
And now we've got Dave, who works at Panair, and Taylor, who works at Cloud9 Cycles.
I've never even attempted to cycle in this type of weather before. Think warm, be warm.
This area of Scotland's fantastic because you get that escape feeling. Gravel tracks, reservoirs, wild moorland, so we can really head off the beaten track. We've got the bones of a nice four-day route in the middle of nowhere. Done about 30k now, probably.
It's 2:30.
2:30.
What time to get dark?
4:30. 4. But yeah, gonna head down this snowy track, and then there's a bit of an unknown footpath.
At about 4 o'clock, we got onto a lockside trail. Going was really slow.
The unknown is the conditions. The weather can really affect where we are. It's pretty exposed, so in my head I knew our plans would change.
Talk of making it to the distillery tour had ceased. Also, I think our final original warm and dry destination had been forgotten.
Stefan knew of a bothy on the shores of the loch.
And we saw this house in the distance, and a few of us were like, okay, maybe that's it. And the night started coming, and the rain was coming, and there was sort of this level of uncertainty about what the night would hold. We really weren't sure what we would do if this wasn't it.
Tell me it's open.
Knowing that that bothy was actually a bothy and it was open, oh, massive relief. My bothy staple, set of fairy lights. Lockside, traditional Cullen skink. Classic adventure style. We tried a lockside path that was on the map. It looked like a good one, but It was sheer drops, wet cliffs, peaty bogs. So we're just going to track back and take the nice single track road. Riding in winter just means having a few more things planned out and making sure there are rough backup plans. The responsibility in being the one who knows where we're going and what we're doing and what it might be like is the hard bit.
Just at the point at which we all thought, right, the walking is over, my feet are wet, but we can start riding. It actually got considerably worse.
Yeah, I just went through the bush. No.
The aim for me is to connect ace places and amazing sections of riding, and sometimes those connections don't work as well as I want them to.
My first thought was, where did my life go so wrong? But as a sort of test of teamwork and camaraderie and all that kind of stuff, it was actually kind of brilliant.
2 days in, it's like we've been doing this for weeks and we're all getting on well and laughing. It's great. Yeah.
So we are on the shores of Loch Rannoch. Just come off the tarmac, which no one can see. Looks like it's about midnight. It's just after 5:30. About to do our last 15k climb. To our left and right there were just these amazing moonlit Munros, and there was a full moon, and it was my favourite bit. Yeah.
Made it.
Cheers.
So this is a Cranachan, a bit of whiskey.
Glacé cherry finish.
Look at this.
Nicely done.
This middle night's definitely been a recoup and a reset.
A very welcome, warm, properly heated bit of accommodation.
It feels like we've earned a sunny, nice morning and day.
I might just go naked.
We're embracing the Vassalando spirit, yeah. We're going places, but without much urgency of arrival.
I feel like we've had such a good experience already. We're all getting on well, and we've had rain, we've had snow, we've now got some sunshine. I'm happy with whatever happens next.
So today's riding is fantastic. We've got about 40k to do. Our next overnight stop, so we're going to retrace a bit of our track. We'll cross Rannoch Moor, something I'd wanted to do for a few years now.
Advised strongly against it by the wicked landowner, but it's up to you.
Is it your land?
Yes.
He was a bit sceptical about us doing it, but he reckoned we had just enough daylight.
We have wonderful sunset. Well, it must be 1.5 miles, I would think. And then you're on your own a bit, really. Yeah. And it's a bit of a push and a shove.
When you say he was a bit sceptical, he said, "You're mad to try it. I wouldn't do it myself." At which point, yeah, there were definitely some nerves in the group.
One huge, wet, boggy mess, basically.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
And that's basically what it was.
And there's something about the sun visibly going down that builds a slight sense of urgency.
So it was just a case of making sure everyone was happy, helping each other out where we needed, pushing bikes, scrambling over bogs, just following the pylons.
It's not 100% certain which way we're going, or it's not 100% certain where you're going to spend the night, and that's part of the fun of it. Just saying, this is up there, being one of my absolute best end of day arrivals at accommodation.
There it is!
It was a very carefully selected group of people to come together and do this. It's just a really special space to be in with complete strangers who now are not complete strangers at all. So I definitely feel like I've pulled sort of like energy and support from other people. And I think we've all done that for each other in like a mutual way. There's definitely been an exchange of like friendship and dynamics and yeah, lifting each other up when needed.
We're starting in Glencoe and then basically doing West Island Way route, the old Drovers route, finishing up in Bridgewater for the sleeper train. We don't aim to cover huge distances when we're out riding. A lot of it's about off the bike stuff too. It's about using a bike to get places that you wouldn't be able to get to otherwise.
It's been this sort of like time warp away from life.
You feel like you're in remote areas, you feel like you're doing something you haven't done before. We're not actually pushing ourselves to any sort of dangerous limit, but we're outside of our day-to-day life.
It's a bit risky.
Well on, cameraman.
Woo! There we go. Got our route beer. Totally different trip that we had in mind and had planned, but beautiful nonetheless. Bit high. Oh, we got, that's not bad, that's not bad.
That's really good.
Cheers, Scotland.
What a great film there. Elif, so great to hear from you in the chat window that you love that film. That is from Luke Francis. We've seen work from Luke before at Film by Bike. In fact, he was the recipient of our music award a couple years back. And he was able to come here to Portland for the festival and be on stage with us. It was awesome to meet Luke. The work that he does with Pena CC as well as Brothers Cycling has been going on for a few years now. And they document these beautiful journeys and they just have so much fun out there. And they really go out in some remote and rugged areas with some planning. And I just love that about their journeys. It's always so fun to see the bomb track work and the work that they put together for those pieces. So big thanks, Luke, for sharing your great work with us, and to all of our filmmakers for sharing your films with us, for we would not have the film festival that we have if it weren't for your great work. As you can see from the countdown window here, it's intermission time and we're just taking a quick break. Tonight's a really long program. We have about 50 minutes of films or so still to come. Great program of films tonight. This is our most jam-packed collection. We tried to whittle it down, but we just couldn't because there are so many great films this year, and we knew that we would be remiss to leave out some of these great films that we know you wouldn't be able to find otherwise. So we want to remind you that you can vote for your favorite film at filmbybike.org/vote. Also on the front page of our website, you'll see the voting window there. We know that there is some great movies out there that we love as a staff team and that our jury loves as well. But we never know what you think as the audience. So voting for your favorite film is a great opportunity to show your love for our filmmakers. We'll be announcing all of our awards next week, early in the week, and you'll be able to find out which film won in that Audience Choice Award, the Film by Bike Audience Choice Award. So also, we want to give a big shout out to Transcascadia, featured in one of the earlier programs tonight. Transcascadia is a really incredible race in the region. It's got a global reputation for the quality of event production that they bring to the table. But also, this is a race that goes through the Willamette National Forest, switching up the route every year and going to different areas. But we know that a lot of the terrain that you're used to riding on Transcascadia has been affected by the wildfires lately. So we want to send our heart out to those of you who are affected by the forest fires that are ravaging the Pacific Northwest and all throughout this region, especially those of you here in our homeland here in Oregon. We're thinking about you at this extremely challenging time. We want to encourage you all to stay safe. And we know for those of you who love riding bikes, it's really tempting to get out there, but crazy time to be out there. The air quality is terrible. So we encourage you to stay inside and stay safe at this time. I also want to remind everyone that tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Instagram, we're opening things up to the Festival Fiesta. No, we didn't have this planned in advance. We just added this on because we thought it would be fun. We love being on Instagram. We've met an incredible community of filmmakers, fans, followers from all over the world. And we thought it would be fun to pop onto Instagram tomorrow at 3 p.m. to open up our live and to invite you to join us on the live. So simply, all you have to do is join our live when you see that Film by Bike is going live, and you can request to join live. Now, if y'all do it at 3 p.m., it's going to be a little challenging because we can only invite one person in at a time. But follow us on Instagram, Film by Bike, and come on in at 3 p.m. and request to go live with us. What we want to hear from you is, what are you enjoying in this year's festival? What has it been like to tune in to the festival? For those of you who are local, what it's like to be at an online event instead of being at the beautiful, historic Hollywood Theater here in Portland, Oregon. And for those of you who are joining us from all over the world, we want to hear from you. What's it been like to experience your first ever Film by Bike? Now, as I've mentioned before, Film by Bike is a film festival with 18 years of experience bringing to the screen the world's best bike movies. We spend 8 months of the year digging into the far-reaching corners of the internet and fostering relationships with filmmakers from all over the world to bring you a collection of 70 approximately films every year. Really great films, as you're seeing tonight. We also travel the world to far-reaching cities, but typically we're only here in Portland other than our touring festival. But the full collection is typically only here in Portland. So this is such a neat opportunity to have the world tuning in to get to experience this awesome collection of films. We hope you're all enjoying it and getting a little bit of a glimpse into Portland bike culture as we present the festival throughout the weekend. Tomorrow, we kick off at 3 p.m. with our Instagram Festival Fiesta. We've got a show at 5:30, Triumph, stories about how bicycles are changing lives. And also at 7:30 p.m., Quarantine Films, Weird Stories for This Weird Time, a special collection that we just put together this summer. Awkward stories. Really weird films. Oh man, y'all were out there creating them during quarantine. So we just decided to assemble them. Big shout out to Melina Kumis, our films manager, for putting that awesome collection together for tomorrow. Just a reminder, you can watch live or later. We encourage you to tune in and interact live, but you can always watch later on your own schedule. So if you haven't gotten yet tickets for tomorrow's events, we encourage you to do so. Also, please spread the word to your friends and family who haven't tuned in yet. We'd love for them to be able to enjoy these great films as well. So without further ado, we've got a huge collection coming up, almost an hour's worth of films. Still to come, great movies from all over the world, and an adventure collection of stories on the remote and rugged road. So let's get back into things. Thanks so much, you guys, and I look forward to seeing you over there in the chat window. Thanks.
When you actually are truly alone in these woods, you know, when you get up to the ridge and you hear that wind blowing through the pines, sometimes it sounds like voices. There's like whispers. It produces the most euphoric feelings of just complete freedom. Nothing's going by. The town of Downeyville was something I'd never seen. Has rivers that are so pure, it look like you just dive in and start drinking out of them. You know, and then the history that's there and the people that you meet. It basically is that time when you sit there and think of yourself and go, where did I grow up? Where did I come from? Why wasn't I born here?
California's famed scenic beauty is most spectacular in its mountain country, where towering evergreens soften the rugged landscape.
My name is Greg Williams. My great-great-great-grandfather was in a tribe of Miwoks.
Long ago, the Miwok Indians found an easy way of life in this land of plenty.
And when the gold rush happened, he came north and came to Downeyville and started leading pack mules up into the remote mines. So for me, it's a lot of my heritage and being able to kind of retrace my steps here in the Northern Sierra. My parents had a 1942 Jeep, and a lot of our summers were spent banging around on the dirt roads. And then as a teenager, my parents bought me a mountain bike, and so got to experience this place and really kind of just learn about this place on two wheels.
When I look at this isolated canyon at the confluence of two rivers, there's really only one reason it is here, and that is gold. My name is Lee Adams. Lived here for about 40 years now. Was the county sheriff. By 1859, it was a pretty solid town. Downeyville had about 5,000 people, which is hard to believe by today's standards. First, it was mining going away, then timber going away. Then the Forest Service made a decision to move their district office from Downeyville to Nevada City. So this community always worries about what is next. Really, when gold left, the reason for a community to be here left as well.
Downeyville was this beautiful place that looked like it was just like barely there. A lot of history, but having some pretty real issues with how it existed. Mountain biking was becoming a thing, but mountain biking didn't have an easy path to being considered legitimate there either. There's a lot of resistance to it.
When you live in small towns, people, they don't want to change for a reason, you know? There was gold mining, there was logging, and that was a huge shift. It wasn't always very welcome. It's like, oh, you're the mountain biker people. I mean, there were signs that said, we hate mountain bikers. Greg was bringing in something that was completely different.
Sometimes things are worth fighting for, even if you don't know they are at the time. Yeah, it was like early 90s, and nobody knew about Downeyville. Three of us had been just like riding this area and figured out like, shit, man, people would love to like get a ride to the top of this hill.
Oh, I thought he was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, you're gonna do what?
Three riding buddies decided that since they spent most of their weekends mountain biking already, they might as well bring others along. And so started Coyote Adventures.
And my dad was like, let's try and get a shop going. Basically lived in that shop feeling like it could end at any second. Now, for those that are watching, that is a virgin pina colada that he's drinking there.
We woke up one morning and Greg's like, I think we should put on a bike race. How are you gonna convince these people? They don't know about mountain biking. And you're not gonna bring a bunch of bike racers down our main street.
Hotel room in the gold rush town of Downeyville this weekend. You were out of luck.
Yeah, all rooms sold out over 2 months ago, but this weekend, the Bike Festival is just one example of how Downeyville is riding to better economic times on mountain bikes.
First Downeyville, second or third?
It is my first in about 4 years.
Done it many times.
Yeah, first Downeyville.
Third Downeyville. Been many. I don't even know how many, actually.
Trying to remember what it felt like the first time.
You know, the tour company was great. It never really put Downeyville on the map, but the Coyote Classic was the catalyst. Like, looking back, I had no idea, like, what the fuck we were doing.
Downeyville race was something that was totally different, because there wasn't any races like that.
I don't know who was down, but if you're around, you should really get in here.
You know, you had all these racers coming to race this race.
You know, there's nothing like a stopwatch and a timed run for people to really pay attention. The first time I met Mark Weir was in 1996 when we did the very first Downeyville downhill. I'd never met anybody like him in my whole life.
You know, the way he approached it, the way he trained for it, the mentality that he had.
I held back on a lot of stuff because I wanted to win one race. Leo Salazar won the first one, called Leo Salad Bar. Like all these guys that were like pros, and I was a sport racer. And those guys are all better riders than me. I knew where I wanted to be. I knew what I didn't want to give up. And I knew what it was going to take. From then on, I never lost again.
He was like the Muhammad Ali of Downeyville.
This is my track. You can come and try and win, and you won't beat me because I've done too many runs on it. There's no way.
He brought a lot of energy and a lot of media, and I'd like to think like nobody's like, as an athlete, has put Downeyville on the map more than him. I mean, he's a 7-time Downeyville champion. Can't be beat, won't be beat. The format for the Downeyville Classic is Saturday. They do a cross-country race from Sierra City to Downeyville. It's roughly 27 miles with over 5,000 feet of climbing. On Sunday, they race the Downeyville Downhill, and that's around 17 miles with around 4,800 feet of descent.
No, you think you're a cross-country racer? Come up here. Try this. Don't bring your little tires.
If someone underestimates it, then they better be really fit or serves them right. Freaking hardest race I've ever done.
You know, the cross-country race put Downeyville on the map, but having the downhill was what really put it on the map. It's a real honor for people to line up on Sunday and to race back to town.
For me, there's people that just think the all mountain's the most important. The downhill's the most important thing. It always has been because it says downhill. It's cooler. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry, you know? It's just the way it is.
The culture and the people that ride bikes and the way that they care about a place, you know, it really came to fruition here in Downeyville where, you know, you could all get along, you could all drink together at the end of the day, and you could all be passionate about this place. You know, the quality of people that come through here is unlike any other. And the level that people really care about this place, I think, is it's contagious.
There's not a day in Downeyville that is bigger than the bike race. This place has not seen those kind of crowds since the gold rush.
There's becoming a definite shift in the perceptions in that town towards mountain biking. There's more sort of acceptance that this is economically vital and important.
It's so nice to see those same people and they go, yeah, this has been a beneficial change.
You know, Downeyville like has that magic to it, you know? I mean, people come there and they kind of imagine what it might be like, but then they experience it and it's It's like nothing they've ever experienced before, you know?
We'd had this sort of realization, like you're putting a race on, but what do you do? And you want to have a bike shop up here, but how do you do that? So if you've got tens of thousands of mountain bikers, you have to have some way of taking care of that land.
We started having, trail work days, come and work, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna drink beers, we're gonna ride bikes, we're gonna howl at the moon.
To see where the stewardship has gone, yeah, that's amazing.
Shoulder and pull it back.
We maintain huge sections of the Pacific Crest Trail. We work on dirt bike trails, mountain bike trails, partner with state parks, Forest Service.
Without those boys, this place would be a touch different for sure. Those guys move so much earth.
We've maintained over 800 miles of trail. We've contributed around 75,000 hours.
We don't want to just make a bomb downhill run here. We want your hiking experience to be really good. We want you to continue to ride your horses up here.
The trails is the easy part. It's how do we keep each other here and keep this economy going and keep working families here in the Northern Sierra. This year, we've employed 37 full-time people, and they're all Plumas and Sierra County residents, which is really important. We started a Trail Kids program, which was kind of like the foundation of our youth program.
Kind of a prideful experience, knowing that what you're doing is going to be something that'll leave a lasting impact on a whole bunch of different people.
Kids get to go out and kind of get to know their local areas a little bit better, work together. It's pretty sweet.
Oh, I think without mountain biking, Downieville might in fact be pretty sad.
At the time, you don't recognize you're part of something that's going to be what it becomes.
You don't get what you get here alone. You get it from a community, and that's what this place has brought to me.
And once you experience it, it'll be a place that you want to come back to for the rest of your life. It might be like that other places, but I don't know any other place. This is my place. These are my people.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
I realized when I was a young man many years ago that the business of life was to acquire as many friends and memories as you could. It wasn't about anything else. I don't have a lot. I got a lot of crap, but I got a lot of memories and I got a lot of friends.
We would have never known when you meet someone that person you're gonna know for, they're gonna be there when you have your first baby.
Yeah, and Flipper and I are up here for 2 weeks as a fire me.
This wasn't a race. It was something to wake up for. I built my family in Downieville.
Look where you're going, though. Jesus. Oh, my.
Trying to build multi-generation situation, and that changes things.
Yeah, buddy. Awesome, Miles.
Being there in that place with those people during that time who are all still some of my closest friends ever, the most family community thing I have found in this life.
All right, now you're getting an 11-0 run. I remember that.
Sometimes we didn't do it right. You make mistakes, and we've all learned from it, and it's so enlightening to be with those same people and go, gosh, remember when we did that?
We just kind of learned on our own, and after 15 years, we feel like we know a bit. We don't know everything, But we're at a point now where we have enough projects in line that things are happening every year. Like every year, like there's some big thing, but you know, those things started a long time ago. And there's more good things to happen, you know? We call it dirt magic. It takes some patience, but if you believe in it and you have people that believe in it and that work hard and that are passionate, it happens. Sky's the limit, man. Let's see where this thing will go.
Let's take it real soon. You know we got what you need, baby. So take it, move along. I said we got what you need, honey. Come and move along. Gotta feel it, feel it, feel it, feel you gotta feel it, feel it, feel it, feel you gotta feel it.
So the Tour Divide is based off of Adventure Cycling Association's Great Divide mountain bike route. It is the longest dirt touring route in the world. 2,750 miles from Banff, Alberta, Canada to Antelope Wells, New Mexico on the Mexican border. It follows the Continental Divide, 150,000 feet of climbing. And you go from the Canadian Rockies, big rugged mountains, down into Montana, it gets a bit greener, then through Wyoming and the Great Basin, very stark, through the highest point in Colorado, and then to the desert in New Mexico. It's fantastic. The Tour Divide is a self-supported race. That means you have to cover all of your own needs. Food, water, shelter, equipment, fixing your bike if it breaks, anything that comes up along the way. You can use commercial services, so you could stop at stores, you could stop at bike shops, you could stay in hotels. Anything that's available to the public, you can take advantage of. There's no entry fee, there's no prize money. I love this route. The riding is not technical. It's dirt road riding. So it's basically you take road riding, you put it on dirt, you need a bit bigger of a tire, and you need to love climbing, and that's it. Anybody could ride this route with enough motivation and a decent level of fitness. And it makes a great touring route. But it also makes a great race route for that reason because you don't get so beat up.
That's fun.
Day after day, you actually enjoy the riding. The thing that makes it hard is just riding more mileage, riding faster. And then the weather can be tough because it's at high elevation. Racing ultra distances requires a level of urgency. So you have to be thinking about how am I going to stay on my bike and keep moving forward as much as possible. With this urgency also requires a bit of deprivation, some sacrifices. So you cut sleep. Typically I'll sleep 4 hours a night. You try to minimize stops. So I'll buy all my food, pack it on my bike, and eat it while I'm going. Salt.
Catch it?
I never expected any of this for this town, to be honest with you. I should have turned my open sign on. She will come while I'm in there, I just know it. Okay, I'm Kathy Schoendorfer. I'm the Blackfoot Angler here in Ovando, Montana. Population 70. My unofficial title here is Ovando Organizer of Frivolous Affairs. So during the TDR, when people come in, I take their pictures and I post it on Bikepacking Forum so everybody can see them. And we try to help out where we can, but not help too much since you have to be self-supported. For the locals. Hey, Leo.
Hi there.
I'm Kathy. I'm the one that puts the pictures on for bikepacking.
Oh, yeah.
So hold on, that's a great smile with the Montana flag next to you. So anyhow, so if you don't mind, even if you did, I'd do it anyway. Put your pictures, post them for you.
Oh, super. Thank you.
Sure.
How are you doing?
A lot better than you.
I'm doing great.
We've been doing this now for 5 years since we found out that a lot of riders really appreciate just having somebody know their name, just to say hi and not get totally ignored, especially if they've been on the road for a long time. And a little bit of friendliness goes a long way with somebody's attitude towards continuing on.
I don't know about that. Screen code?
Yeah.
I'll just do these.
Okay, all right.
They're easier. They're easier to pack.
I think those are tough to pack.
It's gonna melt all over everything. Okay. I think that's good.
All right, that's just plain gross.
You haven't seen the worst of it.
Oh, probably not. Dogs in it. That's the neat thing. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's absolutely fascinating to talk to. And I just like listening to stories. And then I put it next to their picture, give a little caption, tell them what they've been doing, let the magazines take it from there.
Good luck to you.
People came to Ovando because we were just about ready to dry up and blow away. I mean, there just was no business here. And then we discovered cycling and more people came. So for 5 months out of the year, it's crazy in here. It's crazy time. I mean, there's cars everywhere and people walking around, and you got cyclists. I mean, we're going to have days coming up where, you know, the bicycles are going to be lined up against everywhere around here.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
We get a lot of fishermen. We're on the Blackfoot River. The river runs through it, for crying out loud. So everybody's heard the Blackfoot River. But I think what has boggled our minds is that it's been Tour Divide that has made us known from Banff to Belgium. I mean, they come in and Sophie, you know, who's first place, he goes, I met you last time. And he goes, we were talking about you. And I still have a hard time wrapping my head around that. Just what we do for the cyclists has come so full circle that they're talking about a little town of 70 people in the middle of nowhere.
There you are. It's me. Yeah, you recognize me.
Okay. I enjoy the heck of it because sometimes it's not that busy and I get to have a lot of time to talk to them.
So 2015, I raced the Tour Divide twice, first with the Grand Depart in June, and then again as a time trial by myself in August. Anchorage is my hometown. I thought the best way to get to the Tour Divide would be to ride from home to the start for training, and also I'd never ridden through Canada. So I did that in June, got to Banff, took a week off, started racing the Tour Divide, got extremely sick. For a week, I was struggling with breathing. I rode myself to the emergency room in Helena, Montana, where I got an albuterol treatment. They took an x-ray of my lungs to make sure I didn't have pneumonia. And then I continued on my way. I actually got better during my ride, picked up my pace, beat the women's record by 2 days, taking it from 19 to 17 days. And then I go home and then I'm like waking up at night thinking I could ride so much faster. I know I could ride faster. If I didn't get sick, I'd be so much better. And I became kind of obsessed with this to the point where 2 weeks later, from when I finished, I'm riding back down to Banff to start by myself on a time trial. And then I finish in 15 days, 10 hours. And I set this new women's record.
the persistence and the perseverance that really stood out even as a young girl. So whatever she did, she would just do it until she became good at it. So in that way, I think maybe we weren't surprised about the endurance bike riding.
My overall goal is to break the record on this route, which is 13 days, 22 hours, and 51 minutes set by my call. To do that, I have to average 200 miles a day for just under 14 days, and that's like 15,000 feet of climbing per day. I mean, it's kind of mind-melting. Then when you look at that, you're like 200 miles a day for 14 days. Okay, if I ride 200 miles in 24 hours, what would be my average then? But then you think, well, I do have to sleep for 4 hours, so I'm cut down to 20 hours. Then I do have to stop to buy my own food to get my own water, so I'm actually cut down to 18 hours. So then you have to do the math. What's 200 divided by 18? And then account for it. Well, I could have a mechanical. I could have to deal with that. You know, there are all these other things that come up. But that's just numbers. Then think about the landscapes you're going to see. If you're riding 200 miles a day, you're probably covering at least 3 mountain passes.
It has been so pretty today. Has everyone already made it to Mexico? I feel like we've been time traveling every single day.
You get to see that whole state on a dirt route through the Rockies in 4 days. Every sunrise, every sunset, everything in between, rushing through little towns. Or you end up riding through like a thunderstorm, and it's uncomfortable. You're cold, you're wet, but you have to stay on the bike. But there is a beauty to that too, because you'd never see those moments if you were touring or in another situation. You would go inside, you would avoid that. So the exposure is both discomfort and also beauty. It's like you get to see everything. I love it. I love it. It's intense. 4 years later, I have the opportunity to kind of set up my own media project, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's share the story of the Great Divide and the Tour Divide and the towns and the passes and what it means to bike this distance through the Rockies, through the U.S. I mean, it's incredible. So we set out to do that.
Woo! She took it too. She's like, what? I don't know. Sorry, I had to. No, that was awesome.
So the race is going great. There are about 5 of us that are just about on record pace. Switching positions, the riding's awesome. I'm having the time of my life out there. And it's colder than usual. It's really cold. Sometimes I'm waking up, my water bottles are frozen. I didn't bring much of a sleep system. All I have is an emergency bivvy, down pants, and a down jacket, and I'm shivering on the ground. But I'm also just so happy to be riding. I'm making plans in my mind. I'm gonna get through Brush Mountain Lodge, then I'm gonna get to Steamboat Springs before the bike shop closes at 6. And I'm gonna get a new chain, I'm gonna get a new rear tire, I'm gonna get my bike looked at, and I'm gonna keep going. And once I'm in Colorado, it's easy riding. I'm gonna ride so fast, and I'm gonna get it. That's the second half of the race. At this point, I am out of the Great Basin through Wamsutter, and I'm a full day ahead of my record from 2015. I'm a full day ahead, and I'm only halfway through the race. I could beat my own record by 2 days at this point. I'm feeling great. Riding to Brush Mountain Lodge, and then I start realizing, like, wow, there was a lot of water on this road. And then they're like, yeah, you might have trouble on this next stretch. And then they tell me that Sofian, the guy who was in first, had gone up there the previous night, got stuck in like a storm with snow, and had come back. And he was sleeping at the lodge.
I'm up there. It's way below freezing. Way below freezing. It's dark.
Oh yeah.
Can't find my way. The only way that I could find is actually the way that I came from. And I'm willing to push myself really, really far to do well in these races. There's some stuff that I'm not willing to do. It's sometimes better to take a step back and tell yourself, all right, what's more important? Me just surviving this night, or me trying to keep pushing just to win the race? I mean, the race goes on every year. It can come back any time, so.
And then they tell me that Josh Cotto had gone up and it took him a full 24 hours to get from Brush Mountain Lodge to Steamboat Springs. Something I think typically it usually takes like maybe 3-4 hours to cover that distance. Maybe a little bit longer, but really it's like one pass and then you get to Clark, which has a little nice general store, and then it's descending to Steamboat Springs. Not a big deal.
I was trying to find some shelter and some trees, so it's pretty barren up there. I mean, it's just this big empty hillside, and I get to near the top and see this grove of trees, probably 2 a.m. or something. I don't know what time it was. Showing the lights in there, and there's a cougar staring right back at me, like, no, you're not staying here. Like, okay. Kept going, and I don't know. I bivvied up near the top somewhere up there, but it was pretty nice. If he came by me on the way down, I never even heard him. I mean, I think I stopped at like 3 a.m. or something. It was. I would love to hear everybody else's story from coming over that, because it's gonna be good. I'll tell you. Oh, I don't. I'll wait here for him. I mean, I don't even care anymore. Just like, I'm glad I'm not that now. I can't believe he turned around and went to that mud again. That was maybe worse than the snow. I don't know.
And then I go up there anyway. I was with another racer at the time, and then like half a mile down the road, get stuck in this terrible mud. Wheels are not moving, nothing's happening. I had even tried to like push my bike along kind of foliage to avoid the mud, which is really awkward, but I was doing this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep it up here so I don't get the mud, and it was unavoidable. I mean, the mud where it's like caking your shoes, like here's the shoe, here's the mud. It's like an extra pound on each foot at least. You're looking at like 12 miles of this.
The problem is that then it gets so heavy with the mud, or else I just carry it. But he's doing really well. That's why I feel badly. He's making it. I guess I just can't. What do you think, Kai? Are you able to do it?
No.
No.
I'm building up mud as well.
Okay.
Me and Leo stood in pretty much this exact spot yesterday. We were like,
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? Like,
it is.
I mean, fair play to those guys who got through it.
Yeah.
Fair play.
But I also don't think they didn't have. I mean, this mud is like, if you could hike, it'd be different. We can't even hike.
You just got to take your bike apart, put it on your back, and walk.
Yeah.
It's not really a bike ride, then, is it?
No. We did. I had that brief moment of excitement.
Yeah, me too. You guys went and it was like, fuck. I need to go and have a look.
Yeah. It's just.
Just when do you ride a fat bike?
Oh my god, that's not a fat bike.
It's not, dude.
What is that? Is that a tube? Or maybe he has a fat tire on the front. He does. Yeah, I think he does.
Are you Nordbounders? We were fine, but then we ran out of pizza.
Well, now you know. Oh my God.
There we go.
That's good.
Now I'm all buddy.
We are stuck here now, cleaning our clothes and go to sleep and eat. So, which is fine. Yeah, it's all right. But it's just a weird situation to be in this transition. Can't do nothing at all. You're just used to be on the bike and ride, and now we are stuck here. But yeah, it's good. It's kind of like not doable. So we try to get over that at 3 o'clock in the night. So when the mud is like really hard and the snow is hard, and so
because at that point we can just ride the next 12 miles, which will take like an hour versus going a mile an hour.
It's raining.
Yeah.
It's really bad. This is actually like the worst I could like wake up to. It's like just above freezing and raining.
I just said to Kai, this isn't good.
This is really bad.
Yeah.
It'd be better if it was just snowing.
Right, absolutely. Because it's not cold enough right now to freeze.
I know.
I say we send Kai up there, wait a few hours.
if he comes back.
What do you call it? The canary?
Yes. What do you think? Take one for the team?
Like you taking the bet for the team?
Yes, I did. There's gonna be a big pile up here.
There's gonna be a big pile here.
Oh my god.
Is it just a? It's
That's better, but it just.
Yeah, but it's snowing down here.
Right.
Remember, our primary concern is getting to the snow.
Right.
And now it's snowing here.
I know. Yeah, this is. The likelihood of us passing is so low that to go off in the dark seems kind of silly. Yeah, pointless.
Day of summer, but don't tell Mother Nature. There's snow in the high country.
We had 2 feet of fresh snow over the weekend up here.
We're still waiting for all the earlier snow to melt.
With nearly 20 inches of fresh snow, but this is real. An amazing weather pattern we have overhead.
Well, it seems as though this was shaping up to be one of the faster races any of us had ever seen. Like everything was going really fast. It's funny, there's been this overwhelming sort of draw for people who race the route over the years that they want to get here. I think partially because it's the halfway point, partially because I'm become this sort of person in the middle of nowhere who has food for hungry cyclists. And so they're excited to find this random human that sits out here in the woods. But they get to this place and then they find themselves having a hard time leaving. And so for years they've said, oh my God, it's a vortex, I can't get out, I have to go. They say I'm usually the problem. I give the beers out, I give the food out, everybody's got a comfortable place to sit. But it wasn't my fault this time, it was the mud. All these really amazing racers, these are all like superstars who never get to sit together at a table really because they're always competing with one another. So I think there's been a lot of things that have brought it together to make it a really unique moment. I was jokingly calling it the armistice of 2019, but I feel as though it's got its own unique opportunity. It's been really muddy. Who's this? Oh, wow. You know what's crazy is you guys gotta stop doing this. That's crazy. This is a second call from some dot stalker tonight. You get to wait and watch the dot like everybody else, bro. I understand. I'm not being bitchy, man. I'm making fun of you. It's all good. Everybody's good. It's just muddy up here. The weather's been bad. All right. Have a good night, man. Happy stalking. Bye. What the? Happy stalking.
I was a day ahead of my record, and then we like watch my record dot pass us. So then I'm like, okay, well, there's that. But all along the way, you know, I don't only ride these things just for records. I don't only ride these things to win races. I ride because I love riding. There's no way you could continue riding these distances without a passion for it, without a passion to be out. So even if I see my record go by, I still want to ride my bike. The thought never entered my mind like, I'm gonna just pack up and go home. Because why would I do that? I wouldn't rather be home. Yeah, I'd rather beat my own record, but if that becomes unattainable, it's not the end of the world. I still get to ride my bike. That's real victory. I get to do that every day. I just feel so grateful that I get to do that. It's a choice, it's a lot of work, but it's what I love most. We got this media project approved by the race director, Matthew Lee, at least half a year before we started. I wanted to be as transparent as possible with our intentions. And the intentions were to make a video that's inspiring to others, to show the landscape, to tell the story, to be inclusive. 1 week before the race starts, start hearing kind of commentary, of accusations of, well, if you have a media crew out on this race, is that an unfair advantage? It was primarily a Facebook group that started kind of attacking the concept of a media project. The primary issue that people stated was that there's going to be a video crew on the route. This is not the first time this has happened. The race director has had a video primarily about himself on the route. Second issue was that Rue was part of the video crew and Rue's my girlfriend. So then I'm seeing somebody that I care about out on the course, and then The issue with this is that she will give me an emotional boost, so I'll feel better and then I'll ride better. I wouldn't be getting any help, any assistance. Just seeing Rue would give me a boost. And then knowing she's there is gonna give me a boost. The concept of having somebody out there is a boost. Matthew actually suggested this, that I don't see Rue along the route, that the two others that we have on the crew are responsible for taking stills and video footage of me. Rue could be the director from a distance, and then she can also document the other racers. So we did that. As part of this precaution, each member of the media crew had to have their own spot tracker to tell, where they were at all times, to make sure mostly that Rue wasn't with me during the race. So we said, okay, that's fine. Another precaution was the race director suggested that I don't use my phone for the race, so that I don't have the chance to call loved ones, to get support, to text, to check the tracker, whatever else you do that would give you an advantage. And no one else was asked to not use their phone. I agreed because I wanted to do whatever I could to continue with the project, continue with the race, and mostly just because I wanted to ride my bike. There's a huge backlash, and then we find out while I'm racing that there's another film crew on the route, and they're following a male racer, and he is actually almost in the exact same position in the race as I am. We're leapfrogging each other. We're friends, we're having fun. For whatever reason, I'm getting attacked, and then on Facebook, he's getting praised. Incredible, by the same people who are yelling at me, they're clapping for him. Unbelievable. Then people were also trying to say that my previous rides on the Tour Divide also didn't count, that my records didn't count. I didn't have any media during those attempts. And then people were also trying to discredit my win in the Trans Am in 2016, where I also didn't have media. I'm trying to get in the mindset of racing 2,700 miles and trying to do it in faster than 2 weeks and facing deep snow in Colorado. I'll make concessions, I'll do my best, I'll make it fair, and I'll continue. But this is not what you want to be thinking about. You want to be thinking about, do I have the right equipment? Am I emotionally and mentally and physically prepared? Do I have a good plan? When I got stuck at Brush Mountain Lodge, Rue was there too to document the situation, but she was staying in a cabin far from the main house, far from the lodge. She was out there for 2 days by herself while the rest of us were in the lodge eating meals, talking, waiting out the weather. The second morning that I had been there, I kind of realized this is ridiculous. My record had already passed me. We'd been stuck in snow. Before I even started riding, people said my ride wouldn't count anyway because of media, because it was influenced. Hypothetically, it was influenced. This was even before the ride had started. And I was like, I'm not willing to be controlled by members of a Facebook group that aren't riding, that are sitting behind their screens criticizing what I'm doing. I'm out here braving the weather, pedaling my bike, carrying my own gear, doing something inspiring. It's like they're doing the opposite. And I kind of decided in that moment, I'm just gonna ride my own ride anyway. Nobody can tell me I can't be on this route. They can tell me I can't be part of this race, but I can make that decision myself. So what I did was I went in the lodge, I'd had breakfast, blueberry pancakes and sausage, and then I took a breakfast plate to Rue, and then I wrote to Matthew Lee and said I'm scratching from the race because I saw Rue. And that takes me out of competition. And I was okay with that decision. The race is gone, but the route's still there. I'm at basically the halfway point. I still get to ride the second half of the Tour Divide route, which is actually my favorite part of the route anyway. My favorite part of the route is New Mexico.
Oh my God, this is incredible. It's probably like the most beautiful night I've had. The light is just unbelievable. It's like, I guess this is sunset, but it doesn't even look like a sunset. It's just like this amazing, amazing bright sky. And then all the trees are silhouetted.
I can speak for both of us, but I think I've gotten better at it of not worrying. Well, when the dot stops for like 42 minutes, what happened.
He may be better at it, but I'm not.
But you know, then the dot goes on again, and everything's fine, and she's moving ahead. And
As a bikepacking community, particularly those participating in races, I feel like we all have so much more in common than our differences. We're all out there riding to the best of our abilities, cutting sleep, making sacrifices, but truly enjoying the terrain. We're all doing the same thing, so I wish we could kind of engage in that spirit.
There he is.
Oh, we got a red light. We got a red light.
Classic side strip here.
That was awesome. Dude, the track stand was great. Oh, my heart. Dude, it's jumping out of my chest.
That's really worth it.
He wants some protein in it.
It's a fun place. I really like it.
I lost my gloves, ridden like almost 1,000 miles without gloves on. Really hot.
Can you please just send me a picture of the four of you? Well, there's only three of us, but he definitely included the dog into that, right? So we took that picture that I posted to Facebook, and I'm just like, everybody, I don't care what anybody looks like. Hayden doesn't like taking photos and all this stuff. I'm like, we got to get this picture for Dad. Ready? Let's just do this real quick. And then he just focused on that for a while just to get him through.
All right, I got one more job for you. Okay, oh, so much better. 3 more hours.
You know what's awesome for me that I have on sunglasses and you guys can't see them crying already?
That's not my mind. That is him.
I'm going to go to the other side of the road so I'm not everybody's screaming. Come on over, Mr. Baldwin.
Are you telling me I can dodge bullets?
Take the blue pill or the red pill?
I took caffeine pills. That's it.
That's awesome.
Hey, Chris, good job.
Hey, Chris, I'm going to bring you a cold one.
Okay, that's better.
Oh, thank you.
Very good, Colin. Yeah, now it's working.
Well, you're welcome. I'll send it to you.
No,
Okay.
I dropped the iPhone 6 last
Gatorade,
year.
water.
Thank God.
Chris just came through right now.
I'm gonna be the dark spook. And that day at 7:18, I caught up to Lael and couldn't believe it. I was like, Lael, oh my God! And she's like, you look so fresh.
Right.
All right. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Where's the baby? Well, he rode his ass off, so yeah, that's gotta be part of it.
11 pounds.
That's it?
Yeah.
You're right.
15, 11, 24.
I'm getting a tattoo, just so you know.
The percentage of women racing this year and every year is extremely low. Definitely less than 10% of the entire field. But I want to do my best. I want to beat all the men. I want to be, you know, somebody that people can believe in. So I'll do my best to maintain the spirit of the race, but I care about the spirit of the terrain and the spirit of bike packing and what I can accomplish out there.
She's doing what she wants to do. And so, how many people can say that?
We're really happy she gets to do what she loves, and we get to watch and come along for the ride sometimes too.
Oh yeah, and the breeze, it's like air conditioning. Actually, I was just cooking along. I feel fine. What's next? Touch the wall and go back into a massive headwind? I don't think so. For 18 days, 6 hours, 20 minutes. It was a little rough with all the weird stuff that happened and having to scratch, but I don't know, it makes me feel like maybe I'm not finished with this route yet. And I was just riding fast. A big reason why I race ultra endurance or I tour ultra endurance and pack in huge miles and huge days is the wealth of experiences I get to have out there. And that's both climbing up mountain passes and like these swooping descents and this fantastic riding, but also stopping in small towns and finding food and finding water, figuring out a place to sleep and dealing with the challenges that come up, dealing with the mechanicals and dealing with, you know, maybe wavering hell. Never know what's going to happen out there, and that keeps it exciting. Seeing animals out there in the middle of the night, or meeting new people that are totally shocked at what you're doing. The unexpected, that's what keeps it fun. So whether I'm racing or I'm just riding, I don't think that could ever get boring. I think, in fact, that's what makes the experience. Maybe a distance like the Great Divide seems daunting, it's too much, it's too big, but what you can really break it down to is pedaling your bike any distance, you're engaging in the same activity as I am or as other ultra distance racers are. It's all the same. It's powering yourself from one spot to another. I mean, so yeah, of course I think everybody should ride the Great Divide. It's fantastic. But I think even more than that, it's just get out, ride somewhere that means something to you. Put a sleeping bag on your bike, go sleep out for the night, ride back to your house the next day. It's the same thing. You'll learn so much out there. I think you'll probably like it, but if you don't do it again.
Honestly, I'm glad you guys came. I apologize on behalf of this entire dysfunctional community for the chaos you've had to manage. I'm gonna hug a microphone. I'm glad you're here. I really am. I better check dinner. Yeah, sure.
should have been downtown. The people are rising. We thought it was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lie. Oh my, time heals all, but you out of time now. Judge gotta watch us from the clock tower. Little tear gas cleared the whole place out. I'll be back with the hazmat for the next round. We was trying to protest and the fires broke out. Look out for the secret agents, they be planted in the crowd. Said it's civil unrest, but you sleep so sound like you don't hear the screams when we catching beat down. Staying quiet when they killing, but you speak loud when we ride. Got opinions coming from a place of privilege. Sicker than the COVID, how they did them on the ground. Speaking of the COVID, cause it's still going around. Won't you tell me about the looting, what's that really all about? Cause they throw away black lives like paper towels plus unemployment rate. What, 40 million now, killed a man in broad day, might never see a trial. We just wanna break chains like slaves in the south. Started in the north end, but we in the downtown. Riot cops try to block, now we got a showdown. Down. You should have been downtown. The people are rising. We thought it was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lies. Downtown, where I got popped with the rubber bullet tray. Pound, got it in my name now. I'm a shooter. Never understand why they do it. Someone cut the channel off the news before I lose it. I ain't even tripping, if you with it, then we lootin'. Help me put this Louis in the back of Suzuki. Oh, he had to break it down so smoothly. They gon' say it's not about race, but we moving. Oh, pow, got the tray pound, had to put them in my name. What should play now? Any given day, I'll be headed to the pulpit. Say a little prayer, matter of fact, I need two of them. Ooh, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Ooh, this ain't 92, so we in the new rules. Though we got hips, so we don't lose the projects. About to hit Rodale with my little cousin Marcus. Someone threw a whole brick in the Neiman Marcus. Help me put the whole mannequin in the charger. You should have been downtown. The people are rising. We thought it was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lie. Ooh, we lockdown, we ain't gotta stop. Cause they tell us to downtown. Where I got popped with the rubber bullet tray. Pound, got it in my name now. I'ma shoot it. Lockdown, we ain't gotta stop. Cause they tell us to downtown. should have been downtown. The people are rising. We thought it was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lie. Oh my, time heals all, but you out of time now. Judge gotta watch us from the clock tower. Little tear gas cleared the whole place out. I'll be back with the hazmat for the next round. We was trying to protest and the fires broke out. Look out for the secret agents, they be planted in the crowd. Said it's civil unrest, but you sleep so sound like you don't hear the screams when we catching beat down. Staying quiet when they killing, but you speak loud when we ride. Got opinions coming from a place of privilege. Sicker than the COVID, how they did them on the ground. Speaking of the COVID, is it still going around? Won't you tell me about the looting? What's that really all about? Cause they throw away black lives like paper towels plus unemployment rate.